Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Pipe Bomb Sessions. This week, we are coming off of a pretty damn interesting pay-per-view, or sorry, PLE Backlash. Personally, I really didn't have high hopes going into this PLE, and I'm utterly impressed. I thought Backlash, honestly speaking, was pretty damn good. I mean, we had a lot of matchups that were questionable, but they ended up kind of putting in a lot of work, in my opinion. And I mean, Backlash was kicked off with a matchup that I actually thought was gonna be a highlight, and that was the Fatal Four for Jacob Fatu's U.S. title. I think the bigger story is that not only does it possibly seem like either Drew was written off for some reason, or the Priest Drew feud is going to continue possibly for a little bit. Let's hope this is not the limbo effect where they're just going to go back and forth for months on. And they do not need to do that. Please let both superstars move on. And if they are going to run it back one more time, just let it be just that. Just one more time and let it go. Or just don't even do it, in my opinion. I think that's the better way to do it. My boy Drew needs to get himself some more competition. But, as I said, the bigger story is how Jacob Fatu retained his title. And that was because of his boy, Solo, getting some backup for Fatu. Now, the backup came in, the form of Jeff Cobb. Now, I don't know much about Jeff Cobb personally. I did some research, looked into it, and damn, this guy got something, man. He's good. He looked intimidating when he attacked. And I think the bigger story here is that did Solo get Cobb because he couldn't control Fatu anymore? Is Solo losing his grip so much on Fatu that he's getting nervous that, you know what, I gotta go get someone else. Now, maybe they, all get along and wreak havoc, or this is leading to a Fatu face turn and a Solo versus Fatu feud and matchup, of course. I don't know which direction or how quickly they're going to go about it, considering that not everybody's back in the form of Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa yet. I feel like they would also be involved in this. But, I mean, the crowd's already behind Fatu. So you might as well pull the trigger and turn him face when you can and get him red hot. Or, honestly, hotter than he is already. Like, this guy is the Samoan werewolf, man. He's been whooping ass. All gas, no brakes, as he says, man. Shit. I think I like Fatu personally. I think he has a lot of things that he does not need to prove, and because he's already a star in the making. He's already up there. People were excited since he debuted. I myself included. Guy's crazy, man. And he's great. I really enjoy what I see out of him in the ring. I would like to follow up this with the Lyra Valkyria versus Becky Lynch matchup, which I will say, I thought Becky Lynch was gonna take that title off Lyra. I mean, it just only made sense to me. But, Lyra Valkyria, she's surprising me. She beat Becky. I mean, nonetheless, it was a roll-up. Becky attacked afterwards. And from what we heard, it seems like on Raw that maybe it's leading up to another matchup between the two. Becky seemed a little pissed. Seems like she's here to only win titles. And that's what she's going to do. It seems like she's going to go after Lyra again. If they do have a rematch, I think it's definitely stamped in that Becky would take that matchup, which is going to lead to Bayley returning. I'm still waiting on Bayley to come back, but I get it. They're probably just playing the slow game at the moment and seeing how that's going to go. In my opinion, there's some time still for Bayley to get back. Maybe, get some hype going between her and Becky. Possibly they want to even save that for like a SummerSlam situation. Obviously, it's 2 nights. You need big matchups. That would be definitely a marquee matchup for sure. And again, just a little bit shocked that Becky lost off of a roll up. Lyra has gotten a lot of victories off these roll ups, off these quick wins after she looks like she's about to lose. It's very interesting to me, to say the least. I think eventually her luck's gonna run out in that sense. But let's keep it going, man. I mean, it's not bad at all. A matchup next between a couple of luchadors is Penta versus Dom. I was looking forward to this match because this was going to be a good one. Now, what made this interesting is Finn Balor. Balor and the Judgment Day come out, attempt to help Dom, but Balor hesitates when he's using that chair. Wait a minute. The hell's going on here? Like, come on now. El Grande Americano ends up coming out, freaking hits him with the damn metal piece in his mask or whatever, and hits freaking Penta, and Dom takes advantage and gets to retain his title. Balor didn't look too excited about that, let me tell you right now. And I don't know when they're officially going to pull the trigger on this whole Judgment Day collapse, but it's really getting, the hints are just getting from subtle to obvious, I feel like, on a weekly basis, especially with Balor. Balor's pissed. You can tell. I know Balor has not forgotten all this extra other crap that's been going on with him last couple months. Probably feels like Liv is, manipulating Dom to take over the Judgment Day. And who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? The Judgment Day always said that they never had a leader, but it seems like Dom is starting to call the shots around here because he has gold. Interesting. I think that's very, very interesting to see, and very interesting on what's going to happen. Now, something that I did not know what was going to happen with is the Pat McAfee. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Pat freaking McAfee said, let me go one-on-one with the ring general, Gunther. I'm in shock that this match even got on the card, got official. Man, they must have really wanted Pat to get in that ring. And let me tell you, low-key, Pat put up a good fight, but Gunther destroyed my man. Like, we knew that was going to happen, but Pat put up a pretty damn good fight, man. Even Michael Cole at one point tried interfering, held Gunther's foot down, and I really thought the man was going to lose. I was like, yo, no way. And you can see Gunther just punishing Pat. Pat had some offense here or there. He punishes him more. And then, you see Michael Cole's like, yo, just end the match, dude. Like, you gotta end it. Like, your message is sent. We get it. Whatever. Like, just end it. Like, Michael Cole's yelling at him, letting him know. Gunther's smiling, doesn't give a crap about it. Let me tell you that right now. And, he ends up putting him with a sleeper, and chokes him out. Gunther wins. We see Gunther leaving. Pat and Cole kind of like getting together in the ring. And, I really feel like this was a callback, guys. Like, Gunther came in the ring and he gave him like a half bow type of thing. Like, okay, Pat, I know that I was pissed off at you and all this, but you kind of did good. I like what you proved to me in the ring. I felt like that was the notion from Gunther to Pat right there when he came back in the ring and, didn't attack him or anything. Callback is to back in the day, Jeff Hardy and Undertaker, when they had the ladder match on Raw. Friggin' this man Hardy almost beat Taker for the damn title. This is before Hardy was like, he was just going as a solo guy, fresh, still new. This is before his big run later in his career. And Taker beat the hell out of him. That was freaking, the big bad Undertaker too at the moment. So that ladder match was great, I remember, and I was really shocked that Hardy almost took it. This guy, freaking Taker, tries taking it out more. And I remember back in the day, like, Hardy calls him back out. Taker comes back in the ring. And like, he just sees this kid like, yo, I'm the baddest mofo on this roster. And this kid's just calling him out. Like, you don't care. Freaking taps him on the freaking head. That was a show of respect from the Undertaker to Hardy, man. Same exact situation. I feel like kind of this, like, hey man, you know what? You proved yourself. You got something. You definitely got something. So I give Pat credit. His in-ring ability does surprise me whenever he gets in there. I like Pat McAfee. He knows kind of what he's doing in that ring. I'm impressed. I will say I am very, very impressed. Something I was even more impressed with was our damn main event for Backlash. Yo, Backlash really was Cena Orton. Hype it up, and we're like, all right, Cena's a little old. We saw what happened in the Mania main event. That was all right, if that. Nothing crazy. But god damn, did Cena and Orton put on a show for us. And speaking of callbacks, I mean, how many did we really see in all that? Like, goodness sake, we saw so many. I personally always loved that the Orton reverse out of the attitude adjustment for the RKO. Man, I'm really in shock that he did it again. At Backlash, I thought that was freaking awesome that he did that again. As Cena's, running off the ropes, he catches them in another RKO later in the match. That was dope. Man, Orton had this matchup won. Like, he should be the 15-time champ. Like, what are we doing here? Cena, of course, takes advantage and gets it going. Eventually, a bunch of security and all these guys come out. And this guy Orton delivered like 5 RKOs, including again to Nick Aldis. I feel like there's a reason why they keep having Orton attack Nick Aldis. Maybe Aldis does want a match in the ring, and possibly Orton's his guy to do it with. Maybe that's why, eventually Nick Aldis may just get pissed off and be like, you know what, Orton, you, me. Boom. Simple as that. Maybe that's a match for SummerSlam. I don't know. Like, where does this lead Orton going forward? Possibly this is where it leads him to. A matchup with Aldis. I don't know how they're going about it, but it's just very interesting why they always definitely show that Nick Aldis takes an RKO. I think that's very, very interesting. And I think it's definitely going to lead up to a matchup between both Randy Orton and Nick Aldis. I think that would be really good. He was known as Magnus back in his TNA days. I loved him as Magnus. Like, he was good. I hope he does lace up the boots one more time. Why not? Screw it. And against Orton, probably put up a really good matchup. I would not be surprised at all. Sorry. Back to the main event, which again impressed me how long it went, how much they took a beating to each other. It really felt like a classic John Cena and Randy Orton matchup from like 10 years ago. That's what impressed me the most about this, honestly. That was the most impressive thing. And of course, as I was mentioning that Randy was delivering all these RKOs because, the refs getting checked on or whatever, and all the officials came out. Orton goes for the punt, and R-Truth comes to the damn middle. What the hell is R-Truth doing out here, man? I mean, I get it's your childhood hero, Truth, but come on now. You can't be saving the heel Cena. Truth freaking eats a RKO. And after that, of course, Cena takes advantage, gets a low blow, freaking hits him with the damn title. 1, 2, 3, and Mr. Cena retains. I think 2 points were made very important out of this. One, this is leading up to an R-Truth versus John Cena matchup. For those who know why this is a very significant matchup for John Cena. And it's going to be for the title, of course, again. I think it's going to be really dope. Are we really going to see an R-Truth versus John Cena? Like, yo, hold up. Is R-Truth... I hope he does the 5-knuckle shuffle on John Cena, because that would be freaking awesome. Like, that would mess with Cena so much. I think it would be hilarious. I don't even know how they're really going to set this up. Maybe we'll find out on SmackDown. I mean, let's tune in Friday night and see what the hell happens. I think one important point. So Cena after the match kind of looked a little in his own head. Like, he, maybe remorse, regret. I don't know, but they're, kind of showing, I would say, very small cracks in his heel persona. That was at Backlash. Possibly he's like, yo, this is the last time I'm really facing Orton, and we just put on a freaking show for these guys? Or simple enough, does he regret what he did? I don't know. This is very interesting because it could go either which way. And I'm not really sure on how long the Cena heel run is going to last for. Of course, it's going to finish. This whole year is going to finish for him as a face, in my opinion, no matter what. Like, he's finishing his run as a face, as a good guy, back where he was. Redemption arc with the fans, with himself, with the superstars, whatever, right? But I don't know, like that little crack, that little like you see him kind of looking out and just staring at title, just like maybe talking to himself, thinking to himself, like, damn, what is going on? What happened? Type of deal. Like, shoot, was it all worth it? Possibly, I don't know. Like, I really don't know. Maybe beating Orton that way kind of triggered something in his head. That could be a thing. I mean, I know on the post conference show at Backlash, he gave R-Truth a damn attitude adjustment through a table, which means that, you know, obviously that's how they get set up. But R-Truth's not the type of guy to get aggressive after that. So maybe R-Truth comes out and says the wrong things again to Cena on SmackDown, possibly. And Cena's like, you know what, Truth? I'm going to see you at Saturday night's main event, homie. Straight up. Simple as that. I'm going to kick your ass Saturday night's main event. Book it. Maybe Truth doesn't even want the damn match, but he gets himself into a title match somehow or another. That would be even funnier, honestly. That this man is accidentally getting a freaking title match before even like the likes of like a Drew McIntyre. I think that's freaking hilarious. Oh my god. But that was a wrap for Backlash. As I said, I don't know. I thought that was not that bad of a pay-per-view. PLE, whatever. God damn it. I keep saying a damn pay-per-view. Shit. And Raw, Raw put up some good matches. A few good promos, but man, some really, really good straight up wrestling matches this week. Raw was, in my opinion, pretty good. After a couple of weeks of it being a little, stagnant, I would say. I would say a little up and down. But, I mean, Raw kicked off with the man who saved Jey Uso last week and helped him retain his title, CM Punk. CM Punk comes out, and he's pissed. He's more pissed at himself than anyone else. How the hell did he really convince himself to trust the Snake and Paul Heyman all over again? The funniest part about all this was that, honestly, that freaking Punk called Paul Heyman the Penguin. Yo, that's too effing funny. This man really called him Penguin. Paul Heyman came out immediately. You see Paul Heyman's like steaming. I was like, yo, where's your freaking monocle and cane, dude? Nah, my bad. I like Paul Heyman, but the Penguin is a wild comment. I think that's freaking hilarious. Of course, Paul Heyman comes out. Seth and Braun come out. And then, Seth starts talking. He's straight up telling Punk, you made Paul's life hell, and, yada, yada, yada. Of course, we already know that there's heated animosity between Punk and freaking Rollins, and probably will always be there, for being real, right? Always be there. But, I will say this, that Rollins sends Braun Breaker to the ring, and then, Rollins then starts attacking Punk. Numbers game catches up to him. Sami Zayn comes out, and he tries getting in there. He gets freaking a little pummeled, a little freaking beat up. They then take out Zayn, get freaking Punk, about to smack him with the chair, and our champ, Jey Uso, comes out to save him. You see Jey Uso, Punk, and Sami Zayn then in with the chair, and they're standing tall as we see, Rollins and Braun and Heyman kind of like going to the backstage, looking up. What I find very interesting about this and going forward is I feel like now that we're seeing 3, Seth Rollins is definitely going to get a third member. It just makes sense to me. The third member, in my opinion, is going to be Sami Zayn. I don't know. I just have a weird feeling like the way even they were showing Zayn, Punk, and Jey Uso standing in the ring. It was like, is Zayn really gonna hit both of them in the back with a chair? I mean, maybe literally, maybe like metaphorically, just like Rollins did. But I mean, it could happen. It could definitely, very well happen. And that would mean that Zayn is now the third member of Rollins' group, and that's another good addition to have, in my opinion. Like, what? So let's see. Let's see how this kind of goes. I'm not really sure on who is a third member. I really think is between two people, Sami Zayn, or my dark horse is Rusev. Actually, I think once he's taking care of Tozawa and Otis and them, I think it might be Rusev. I don't know why. I just feel like they need like that big guy, another big guy. I mean, you already got Braun Breaker, but you can kind of make Braun Breaker like your young star, and possibly have Rusev take over like that giant, like, just heavy hitter type of guy, even though technically all three of them are heavy hitters. And going forward, this makes it very interesting if they do add a third member. However, they did make official that it will be Sami Zayn and CM Punk versus Rollins and Braun Breaker. And because of that, I really think if Zayn and Punk are about to win, then that's where the third member comes out, possibly. Either that or Rollins and Braun, because I think they're going to win no matter what. That Rollins and Braun win, and then the third member comes out just to attack after. I think regardless, someone may get revealed on Saturday night's main event. But let's stay tuned and let's see what happens. Next up, let's kind of switch gears into I guess El Grande Americano's real persona in Chad Gable, even though people still believe that it may not be him. I don't understand. But Chad Gable versus Penta, and man, did they put on a classic. I thought freaking Gable and Penta matchup was awesome. Penta ended up winning after that, after a great reversal of Gable. And the only thing that, kind of had me a little iffy was that I saw Penta kind of checking his arm over here there. He was even talking to the ref after the match. And like when he was like posing victory, he only held up one arm. Hopefully Penta's alright. I'm not saying he got hurt, but it's something to look out for. I'll be on the lookout for that just to see if he actually did get hurt or not, and what goes on with that. I think something else that was a good promo and kind of got things hyped was Jay and Logan Paul, because Jay and Logan Paul, if nobody knows, it's official for Saturday night's main event for the championship. I don't see Logan Paul taking it. I think the bigger story that came out is the ring general came out and told Jay that he's going to be facing the winner of that matchup on June 9th. Now, I had to really think, why is that significant? Who cares? Why June 9th? Like, why on a random Raw? It's the Raw after Money in the Bank. Yo, the Money in the Bank winner could cash in on Jay or Gunther. I think it's going to be Jay who wins, not only against Paul, but maybe even Gunther. But then he may lose the match. Or, sorry, he may lose his title regardless because of the Money in the Bank winner. So it's very interesting. I have some predictions of who may be in it, but I'm going to cover that a little bit later. I think this now makes things very intriguing. Very intriguing. WWE kind of gave us an early look, like, hey, something's gonna get planned on that Raw. Just make sure you tune in. I'll definitely be tuning in and make sure to see what the hell goes on. And then that followed up with another, in my opinion, really good matchup: Styles and Balor. I think they know each other so well. We know this. We know this for a fact. Styles ends up winning. Penta came out to help Styles with, Judgment Day at ringside. Fun fact, as Pat McAfee and Michael Cole were saying, where is Dirty Dom? She was nowhere to be found. I think that's very, very weird. You know, I think they're just teasing it more and more. Like, hey, this guy's not even coming out of Balor's match for support. The rest of these guys came out. I don't know. That's really odd to me. To me, the seeds are there. You know, Dirty Dom thinks he's like the head guy now. He's the leader because he got the IC title. I mean, and he could really say he pinned Balor. If Balor ever does try to say something, he could just say, "I pinned you to actually win this title." I think that's huge. It's a lot of things are going on in the Judgment Day. I think another thing that's interesting and important to note is someone who's involved in our main event. Now, I'll go into the main event real quick, which was Io Sky and Rhea versus Roxanne and Julia. Another really good match, and this was the main event, and pretty nice. You know, see Triple H giving the woman a main event spot on Monday Night Raw. I thought it was a pretty good main event. They put on a really good matchup. Of course, Io Sky and Rhea ended up winning. You see Rhea kind of just looking at the title afterwards as they're celebrating together. I mean, how many times are we really gonna run this back with like Rhea chasing the title? I feel like WWE is making her into just a title horde where she just wins a title after title. She has to always chase the title. We can't have everybody doing that, and I feel like that's what sometimes weakens the women's division. Help them out. Put them in different feuds. Put them with new people. Make it interesting, guys. Don't put this continuous cycle of the same exact people fighting for the same title. Like, come on now. Like, if Io Sky won that title, have her face some new people. I'm sure you got plenty of women on the roster to have Io Sky face with. And I'm still waiting on my girls. Where's Kairi Sane and Asuka, man? Like, shoot. Where's Io Sky's real freaking partners? Like, that's what I'm waiting for. Like, come on. I hope they are recovering well and they do return soon. But I am looking forward to having them back on TV. I really like Asuka a lot. I think she's really, really good. And I think her whole entrance is fire too. So there's that. One. Okay, so now that kind of I wrapped up on Raw, I wanted to touch base back on someone I was mentioning about the Judgment Day situation. That's Roxanne. Now, Roxanne, we've seen on multiple different segments, different weeks. We see Roxanne and Balor keep talking backstage. We know that they do that on purpose. We know that there's something going on, right? Question is, what is it? Like, what is actually Balor cooking here? I think it's going to be Balor, Roxanne, and then Styles is also going to come in the mix to kind of team up against the Judgment Day, and maybe Dom, Liv, and like JD. I think JD actually betrays Balor and does not team up with him when Balor thinks he will, and that is going to lead to AJ Styles coming to Balor's aid. I think that's how. I mean, we see that there was really not anything crazy between Balor and Styles. Like, they were angry. They just had a really physical and good matchup earlier. And you even see in the middle of the matchup that, you know, Styles was like, yeah, too sweet to Balor. And, you know, that's interesting. It's like he's also teasing things. I think there's something bigger happening here where the Judgment Day is not only going to implode, maybe alliances get separated in multiple different ways. I'm not really sure. For one thing I know for sure is that Liv and Raquel, once Liv does return from her movie, are going to lose those titles. And I give credit to my boy Matt. He's the one who actually mentioned this, that, you know, they're going to lose the titles and Balor is going to cost them. That might be the trigger. And I can see that definitely being the trigger in all this. It makes sense that that's how they could lose the title. And in turn, everything falls apart, you know? I think that's very, very big to mention and do. And I don't know, let's see. I think something to see is in about 10 days? 10 days, 12 days possibly, is Saturday night's main event. I know they're already kind of having like a big hype show already. Backlash just happened, but man, the matchups on there are already kind of shaping up to be pretty good. I mentioned earlier about 3 matchups, which 2 we know are confirmed. 1 is still pending. The pending I'm going to start with, which is John Cena and R-Truth. I think that's going to get confirmed either this week or possibly next week. Probably this week, though, since, Saturday night's main event's literally not this weekend, but the weekend after. I can see it happening and confirming as soon as literally this Friday night. The 2 confirmed matches are obviously Logan Paul and Jey Uso, and I think that's going to be a really good matchup. I don't see Logan Paul winning it, especially now because Gunther has said that he's enacting his rematch clause in June 9th. Very interesting to me. I see him directly facing Jey again. It just makes sense. They'll still put on a good matchup. I don't think Jey is in danger of losing his title here. Now, the bigger matchup, which I'm really excited for actually, is CM Punk and Sami Zayn versus Rollins and Braun Breaker, just because I really think the third member is going to get introduced here, guys. I just don't know. I don't know who it's going to be specifically, but I really do think third member is coming out and he's going to reveal himself here. I don't get it. And then, a match that I think could get added also on Friday will be Nia Jax and Tiffy. That makes it 4. I know Triple H usually likes to do the 5. So if there's a last match to add, it could either be one of these 2. It's going to be a women's match. It's either going to be from SmackDown. It'll be either Naomi versus Jade rematch. Maybe, and with the stipulation, not maybe, I think it'll definitely be with the stipulation this time. Or it'll be for a rematch for the women's IC title between Becky and Lyra. That's where Becky can take it. I definitely think that's where Becky can take it. But, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again, as always, for tuning in and giving your love and support. Don't forget to subscribe and like, as always, guys. And next week, I'll be, getting a little bit more hyped into some of the Money in the Bank participants and qualifying matches that are due to occur. I think there's big things in the horizon, so definitely tune in next week to get some of my predictions, and let's see what happens on Raw and SmackDown as well. And as always, guys, don't forget to subscribe and like once again. Appreciate your love, and I'll talk to you guys later.